In a marketplace dominated by SUVs, sedans, hatchbacks, MPVs and every other body style you could conceive of, well, they've taken a back seat. So every time we get the opportunity to drive a sedan or a hatchback, well, it's always a pleasure. And I'm here today in Amritsar driving Volkswagen's latest. This is the Virtus. Now, from what we know, just to give you an initial look at the Virtus, it is the longest sedan in its segment, almost 4.5 meters long. It's got a combination of two engines, all petrol, a 1.5 litre and a 1 litre petrol. Of course, that's mated to a combination of automatic and manual transmissions. But can a sedan like the Virtus, and especially this one, which is the GT version you're driving, create some amount of excitement in the market? Well, that's what I'm here to find out. At 4.5 meters in length, the Virtus is a fairly large and long sedan. Add the clean, strong lines and a sleek silhouette and you have a very distinguished looking sedan with a sharp and powerful stance. It is a good looking sedan and without any frivolities has an understated appearance. The GT variant we drove has some smart design flourishes, especially at that front end. So what does being the longest car in the segment mean? That 4.5 meters of length, well, that gives you an enormous amount of interior space, and as you can see, there is an enormous amount of knee room that I've got. There's quite a lot of headroom as well, and you can recline comfortably. These seats are well contoured, they're nice and supportive, and there is enough of under thigh support. I also like the quality of the leatherette that's been used inside this, and this is the GT version, so you've got this fantastic red stitch all across the seats. Well, the contours of your backrest also quite supportive. You've got these nice depressions in the backrest that supports your love handles. All in all, this is a nice plush cabin to be in. The quality of materials used is top notch, and I think whether it's for short journeys or even long ones for that matter, this is a very comfortable place to be in. I do like the way the interior looks. It's got this nice red accent on the dashboard, even the instrument binnacle right here behind the steering wheel. It's got these red accents on it. And this is of course exclusive to the GT variant. You get this upholstery with the red stitching, which I spoke about as well. Now all of this makes it look fairly sporty, but here's what I think Volkswagen should have also tried to do, because the red elements, the red highlights on the dashboard, they make the dashboard look a little plasticky. And perhaps just having gone with an entirely black dashboard with a fewer red accents in place would have enhanced that sportiness value a little more than actually putting this massive red highlight across the dashboard. That's a lot of red in your face. One thing I like or don't like, and this is entirely from a journalist's perspective and because we drive so many cars, is that the homogeneity in the design is quite evident in the Virtus's cabin. I've driven the Tiguan before this, and what you do get in that cabin, you see similar elements. The steering wheel elements, the climate control, the door panel layout, well, these are all similar to what you've seen on the Tiguan. And that kind of creates this sense of being just too common for me. For you as a consumer, this would certainly be unique. These aren't things that you would see, from segment to segment within the Volkswagen brand. From the Tiguan coming down to the Tiguan or the Virtus now, for instance, there aren't going to be as many similarities. You will see that family resemblance, you will see that DNA emulated in a lot of the design language. But smaller and finer details, like the control knobs, the switches, the display areas, well, they're quite unique and quite different between those products that lie in various segments. Another word of caution to all of you who are looking to buying the Virtus: all of the connectors to charge your smartphones are USB Type-C. So stock up on those cables, because the two output points in the front and there are two additional points at the rear for the rear passengers, but all those 4 points are USB Type-Cs, not your conventional USB outputs. So, stock up on those cables, guys. So the car I'm driving, it's the GT variant. and what you essentially get is the 1.5 litre petrol engine in this, and that's clubbed with the 7-speed automatic transmission, DSG. You got paddle shifters right behind the steering wheel over here, and all of this is attuned to kind of give you that sporty, performance-oriented experience. And it's not too bad. Now I'm driving it in the sports mode, the S4. Acceleration is brisk, but as you accelerate harder and harder, that engine noise is quite audible inside the cabin. It's a fairly quick, a very brisk car. The red line on the Virtus 1.5 GT, well, that is tagged at 6,000 RPM. And in drive mode, well, the shift happens at about 1800 RPM to 2000 RPM. But if you had to slip it into sport mode on the gear lever, you'd go into sport mode. Effectively, the throttle, when you're full throttle on, the red needle will go all the way up to 6,000 RPM before it shifts up to the next gear. Shift speeds are quite impressive, whether you're going up or down the gears, thanks to this DSG gearbox. What you would expect is that the fuel efficiency in a car of this sort, with these power outputs, 150 PS of max power, the kind of performance it is capable of, you'd expect the fuel efficiency to not be that good. But here's what it does. Now, the 1 litre turbo petrol, well, Volkswagen claims that that engine delivers about 19.4 kilometers per litre. Impressive. The 1.5, the GT version with the 7-speed automatic, however, gives you 18.67 kilometers per litre, which is also very, very impressive for a car of this order. So another aspect where the fuel efficiency comes in from is the lightweighting in this sedan. Now, the 1 litre turbo petrol, the Virtus with the 1 litre turbo petrol engine, weighs just about 1.1 tons. The 1.5 litre goes up to 1,275 kilos. It's an extremely light car. The additional weight in the 1.5 litre, of course, coming in from the larger engine, which is just roughly about 60 or 70 kilos heavier than its 1 litre sibling. Now, I can't tell you much about what the handling is like on the Virtus, and I do expect it will be impressive, given that it's got a nice stiff suspension setup, that McPherson at the front and at the rear, of course, the whole independent setup will do a fairly impressive job. Of that I'm confident, and a road test will let us know more about just the handling dynamics. But just look at these roads, they're fantastic. I mean, the Virtus feels so comfortable driving it out here. I'm headed towards the Atari, the Wagah border. The roads are absolutely straight, the land is flat, and well, the Virtus, it just feels like a nice, comfortable car to be cruising around in. The Volkswagen Virtus has got two tire specifications. Now, the 1 litre, well, that comes with 15-inch wheels and tires, but the 1.5 litre, the GT version that I'm driving, now this one comes with 16 inches. This is the 205/55 R16 spec, and effectively that gets you better ride quality. Also gives you better dynamics, but it also takes a bit of a toll on fuel efficiency. But let me tell you more about the ride quality. It is quite pliant. These roads here in Amritsar are not the best quality. There's some broken surfaces, diversions that we're going through. But ride quality is fairly plush. And while you can hear a few noises inside the cabin because the surface is that bad, it's nonetheless overall quite impressive. This only adds to the comfort quotient of the Virtus. And that means over long distances or even in urban areas, this would be a fairly comfortable car to drive. From whatever I've experienced so far, there isn't a lot of sponginess. The brakes certainly feel a lot progressive, but yes, it does not have the sharpness and that bite that you would want from a performance car. Keep in mind, it has a disc at the front and it's got drums at the rear, but the effect certainly does not feel like it's got a very sharp bite. There isn't sponginess, but it certainly is a lot more progressive. One interesting observation that I've had in the Virtus is that the A-pillar, well, that's fairly narrow, which means you've got great sight lines all across. As for safety, well, you get all the state-of-the-art safety features that you would want in a car of this sort. You've got multiple airbags, you've got ESP, you've got traction control, and a lot more. But yes, eventually, Global NCAP would take the Virtus down for a crash test, and we can just await for those results to know how the Virtus fares. The one feature that I think most manufacturers have finally started offering and is absolutely brilliant, because I'm out here, I'm driving in Amritsar. The temperature right now, it's about 9:45 and it's already showing me 38 degrees, and I'm expecting this by noon to rise up by at least another 4 degrees to about 42 or 43. It is pretty hot here in Amritsar, and manufacturers these days offering ventilated seats. I mean, hats off to you that you finally offering that feature in mass market cars. These ventilated seats are something that anyone could appreciate. Volkswagen's 2.0 plan, now that is the next generation of vehicles that will come out from the Skoda Volkswagen Alliance. Well, these are contemporary, and we've already seen a few of them out in the market. We've seen the Tigor, we've seen the Tiguan, and now of course we've got the Virtus, and this will be followed by several other products that are coming in. Now Volkswagen intends to launch this in the first week of May, which means it will go on commercial sale in just a few days from when you've seen this story. Pricing will be crucial, and while I expect the price gap between the 1 litre and the 1.5 litre petrol to be fairly competitive, I do hope that Volkswagen can keep the overall price band, the price structure for the Virtus very competitive, because keep in mind, we've got the Slavia from Skoda, and then Honda will soon be coming in with the hybrid City, and of course that is going to be a very fuel efficient car. So between the 1 litre and the 1.5 litre, well, which one would I recommend? And that's the question that's being increasingly asked on social media. Well, I would recommend the 1.5. It is going to be more expensive than the 1 litre turbo petrol, but you certainly get a lot more grunt. Keep in mind, this 1.5 litre makes 150 PS of max power with 250 Newton meters of torque, which is a lot more than what you get in the 1 litre. You also get much better performance. It comes mated to the automatic transmission with the paddle shifters, and the fuel efficiency isn't too bad. 18.67, thanks to that cylinder deactivation, is very impressive. So all in all, as a driver's car, something that you would want to enjoy a lot more, this 1.5 Volkswagen Virtus is my recommendation.